Hey, good morning and welcome to episode number 2 on our Like a Child series, where today we're going to jump right into faith like a child. Now, I don't know about you, but kids seem to have this unsurmountable amount of faith when it comes to doing things that are a little bit different, or perhaps the first time that they ever do anything in their life. And I think that's the example that we're trying to go for today when we're tackling faith like a child. All right, for those of you who are parents, you know all too well what I'm about to talk about. But for those of you, I just want to jump back into your own childhood, because I don't have kids, so I just got to go back into my own and kind of look at what it was like when I was a kid. That really differentiates the self, because I was very different then than I am now. Your child is very different now than it probably was a little bit earlier. And so when we look at something like faith like a child, I want to kind of do this imagine. So I'm actually here in Colorado right now, and behind me are a lot of the ski resorts that I actually grew up learning how to ski on. Now, I never will forget it, because I had a ski instructor. His name was Carrot. Yeah, he had red hair. But one of the coolest things about that is when you were young, there was this go-to mentality that no matter what was in front of you, you're just gonna go straight down the mountain. If you've never seen a child on skis just be able to put them both straight down the mountain, you know there is nothing stopping that child. That is a bullet coming down the hill, and the only thing stopping him is an instructor yelling, "Pizza slice!" See, that kid has no presence of fear, of falling, of literally causing unsurmountable damage to themselves. But you'll do that and you won't see a grown adult doing the exact same thing. They'll be sitting down the mountain doing a nice little carve, because what they have learned is what it happens to them when they actually fall. See, I think when Jesus is talking about faith, and he uses a really great example with his faith like a mustard seed, what he's talking about is you don't have to have this insurmountable thing where you just gotta be all out all the time. No, what he's actually talking about very simply is you just gotta have a presence of mind. You just gotta have that moment where it just says, you know what, no matter what, I trust that this is going to work out. A childlike atmosphere, a childlike belief going down a mountain is one of the coolest things you can watch. As a parent, it's gotta be terrifying, because what you're watching is a child who's about ready to hurt themselves so deeply if they can't actually pizza slice, and they fall and they hurt themselves. But to that kid, in that mind, they're just thinking to themselves, man, I'm going fast. And they just keep on going. And then when they want to, if they've learned the pizza slice, they know how to slow down. To everyone else around them, what it looks like they're doing is absolute craziness. But in their own minds, they're exploring. They're attempting something that most of us wouldn't dare to do. And so every single time we've gone over this idea of faith, when we look into Matthew chapter 18, and God says that you have to become like these children, I wonder if one of the things that we have to do to really challenge our faith is to go back before we had all of these preconceived notions, before we had all these accidents, before we had all these things that really messed up our faith. Now, for some of us, we'll say like, oh, I don't have any problems with my faith, but the truth is we all do. There's been something we've prayed for and we haven't gotten. There's been something we've asked for and was never received. There are so many things to our faith life that have been challenged over the years that we literally start to see doubt creep in every single time we don't get what we're looking for. But a child doesn't see it that way. You know, you can go even a little bit younger. Some of the things that a child loves to do is just stand there and be thrown up in the air. There's not this fear that they're not going to be caught, because the person throwing them, there's this amazing amount of faith that the father or the mother who's tossing their child up into the air is going to catch them. With arms stretched out wide, a child anticipates not hitting the ground, but being caught, slowly lowered and thrown back up into the air again. It's the joy, it's the smile that we see upon those kids' faces that really exemplify the faith that I think Jesus is talking about when we have to go back and become like a child. Fully trusting, fully engaging, that when God says go, or God says, hey, I'm gonna let you go on this, that we fully embrace the challenge. We fully embrace the call. And we accept what God is moving in our lives for. Guys, I hope you see yourself today and you find your own story of what you used to be like as a child. And go back to it and just, what is your own story? Share it with us below. What is something you did that you were just like, oh my God, I did this so hard when I was a kid, but now I'm a little bit more hesitant or fearful because I don't ski or snowboard the exact same way I did when I was a kid. I mean, I literally have stories of me taking out entire ski schools, and now I'm very cautious. But it's a lot to do with what's happened. So I want to challenge you guys with this today is to go forth and see what your faith has been, maybe revert back to it just a little bit more like a child. I love you guys, and we'll see you tomorrow.